Shalom, shalom. Reading out of the book of remembrance, the book of the law of Moses, the tablet of Gabriel. We're going to start on page 455, chapter 14, verse 133, the 20th parameter of Ezekiel. Love all people. Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 22 through verse 23. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 18 through 19. And Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 11 through 13. This is page 455, verse 133 in the book of the law of Moses, the tablet of Gabriel. And it came to pass that because Ezekiel walked in the way of the covenant of Abraham, he could look favorably upon all people who were willing to pursue peace and tranquility. And Jeremiah had written the clear instructions of Moses. Jeremiah had written the clear instructions of Moses in regards to the behavior of the covenant people, in regards to the behavior of the covenant people to others, and to the Messiah said Moses. And the Messiah said to Moses, the Lord does execute judgment. The Messiah said to Moses, the Messiah does execute the judgment of the plight of the fatherless and widow. And he who loves the stranger, in giving him food and raiment, love ye therefore the stranger. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 41. King Solomon praying for the stranger that is not of thy people Israel. Love ye therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. And you are to give the strangers who dwell among you an equal inheritance in all things, both in things temporal and in things spiritual. For what is an inheritance among a holy people who have all things in common? Land is an altar and no blood sacrifice. Moses chapter 14, verse 134, page 456. Land is an altar and no blood sacrifice. Ezekiel defined what it means to be Israel. Ezekiel defined what it means to be Israel. Verse 134. Ezekiel chapter 47. And it came to pass, when next we viewed with Urim, and I began to see more of what Ezekiel did on his long watch, and I saw that Ezekiel looked upon the waters of the canal, which watered the gardens of the king, and he prophesied that the living water would flow out from the altar of the city of Israel. The living water to heal all the dead waters of the earth, to heal, a healing all the dead waters of the earth. And his view was that all the land where Israel dwelt was in fact the holy altar of Anachasid and Eachasad, the Most High, the Father of us all. And I felt like he was referring to when the Messiah of Israel would be the living water the Messiah of Israel would be the living water that has come to redeem his people. The living water that has come to redeem his people. For he is the living water, and indeed the salvation and redemption of Messiah will flow out and spill over to cover the earth. No blood sacrifice. Verse 135, and the son of Yoxakad, Ezekiel, was fiercely against blood sacrifice, and he would not desist during his long watch to counsel against it, because blood sacrifice was at the heart of all things heathen. Jeremiah 10, 1-4, the Christmas tree and mistletoe. And it was refraining from blood that came first to mind for Anakah seed after the flood in the covenant of Noah. And we know that after Messiah came in the flesh, James, his brother, forbid all use of blood by the people of true Israel. Verse 136, and from the start of his watch to the end, our son Yoxakad forbid such heathen practices, and he is the first son of redemption, for the third flame shone on the tablet of Gabriel. Spirit telling me to read these verses. This no blood sacrifice, parameter number 22, is Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 22, Ezekiel 9:9, Ezekiel 16:6 and verse 22, and 36-38, and 59-63, Ezekiel 18:10, Ezekiel 19:10, Ezekiel 21:32, Ezekiel 22:3-9, Ezekiel 22:12-27, Ezekiel 23:37, Ezekiel 24:6-9, Ezekiel 33:5-6, Ezekiel 36:18, Ezekiel 37:26-28, and Ezekiel 39:17. Verse 137. All praises to the Most High. And thus we come to the end of the 22-year watch of Ezekiel, our son of redemption. And herein you can see that Ezekiel set the parameters of holiness. Ezekiel set the parameters of holiness of the recreated house of Israel. And it can be seen that Ezekiel brought back the holiness of the ancient people, the city of Enoch, who by way, the fullness of the gospel, who by way of their utter holiness were translated back to Eden, and they became in the first great sevening the template upon which the vision of Israel was built. And every tenet of these 22 elements of holiness laid down by him must be carefully followed if the vision of true Israel is to be fulfilled. And there are no shortcuts to holiness. And there are none of the 40 laws that can be ignored. And there are none of the laws of Jeshurun, the 40 laws that can be ignored. And every point laid down for Abraham by his mother must be respected, and Shabbat must be lived. And we all stand before the Most High, who is loving kindness. Loving kindness, and Jeshurun is the law, and Shabbat is the testimony. And it is a testimony because every foundation of it must be experienced and lived, and all blessings will flow to become the rich testimonies of the people of Anakah seed and Yoxakad. And again, the prophecies of Jeremiah at the coming of the age of Saweed all came to be fulfilled. And he alone, by the grace and counsel of God, of the God of Israel, he alone, by the grace and counsel of the God of Israel, was able to recreate True Israel, all praises to the Most High. Boom.